Hi everyone, and welcome back to Movies Recap. A prison in the United States holds an irate prisoner. The reason why his eyes are full of murder is because his heart is full of hate. 6 months ago, Jason still had a lovely family. His wife, lovely and compassionate, looking at the future of the newborn child, is full of expectations. But just while his wife was preparing dinner, masked bandits unexpectedly emerged. When Jason discovered that anything was wrong, his wife was already dying. The crafty bandits sprayed LSD and departed the area with tremendous swagger. When Jason woke up, he found the murder weapon in his hand, and the police coincidentally surrounded the place. In this way, Jason was treated as his wife's killer and sentenced to 50 years in prison. On Christmas night, Jason was transferred to a private prison. The prison is under 24 hours security to prevent prisoners from escaping. The prison is built on the water. There is just one route in and out, because in this prison, all are the most violent convicts. Everyone's hands are covered with blood. This day, Jason decided to have a calm breakfast, but someone sought to find difficulties not only towards the dinner plate spit, but also insulted his wife. The other party did not know that they had messed with the wrong person this time. After the struggle, Jason is hauled before Julie, who rules the entire prison and is an unforgiving tyrant. In order to turn the inmates into assets, he orchestrates flying car races. Death penalty convicts become drivers, driving modified race cars to kill each other. If someone can win 5 races in a row, they will be pardoned and escape the prison. The circuit is peppered with high-definition cameras, and the race is aired live for a global audience. In the last event, a disguised driver named Frank with incredible strength won 3 races in a row. In the 4th race, Frank experienced a mechanical breakdown and was brutally targeted by his opponents. Although he won the race but died of serious injuries, Julie hastily concealed the news of Frank's death. To avoid a dip in ratings, she desperately wants a powerful prisoner to replace Frank and continue the race. Jason is the excellent candidate for the job. Jason is initially apprehensive, but Julie's offer is too good to refuse, and Jason will be pardoned as long as he wins the 5th match by pretending to be Frank. After the deal was finalized, Jason came to the workplace in high spirits and met with the team coach and technician, Fatty. The race car was equipped with a high-powered engine that might erupt with a horrifying 850 HP. Before we continue on, like the video, press the subscribe button and switch on that notification bell to join our expendable squad. Racing defense is also highly strong. The front and side is 2 cm, steel plate, bulletproof glass, clear Chinese production. The rear is 15 cm thick, solid armor. In addition to this, the car is also equipped with smoke bombs and even petrol bombs, and then with 2 multi-barrel Gatling machine guns. It can really be considered as a very impressive performance from the coach's mouth. The flying car race is broken into 3 games. The first 2 games to kill as many opponents are possible to ensure that they pass the finish line might be who can win the 3rd game to be recognized the actual champion. Jason's major opponents are 5 people, namely Chinese-American Green Jim, former professional racing driver Colt, and Jake Julie. In order to live earnings, each race will be from the women's prison, the selection of hot, beautiful inmates to function as a racer's navigator. Jason's navigator, Keith, is even more strong and has assisted Frank many times to save the day. Facing Keith, Jason didn't want to hide his identity and took the initiative to remove his mask to start the race. As the lights began to flash, the participants looked excited. The global live broadcast was also started with over 45 million people paying to watch. Jason got the lead with the floor gas and the rest of the team immediately sped off. The pack started to rampage and Jason soon lost his position. Coming in 4th, Keith calmly directed a shortcut to follow and Jason slammed the throttle at the intersection to take the lead. Once again, the race came to the 2nd lap and Julie ordered the sensors to be activated, unleashing gunfire, smoke bombs, napalm and traps. Jason lacked expertise in his first race and failed to activate the weapons and was caught by the adversary behind the car, firing indiscriminately with Gatling machine guns. But the driver's skills were particularly bad and in turn was found to be broken by Green, who was excited at this time. He was excited at this time. He was looking at Colt in front of him, who didn't want to be murdered, and rushed to escape from the steel spikes to launch a counterattack. Green was unable to dodge the fast flat tire. The automobile lost control and began to roll. 14K saw the appropriate time to send a missile. The car was blasted away and smashed straight on the ground. Green hopped out of the car and started to spit out the aroma towards the camera, but the next second he was smashed into pieces. The last lap of the race, Jake armed with a gigantic Gatling. The power is absolutely astounding. Coupled with Colt stalking, Jason's armor was in shreds. Jason requested Keith to dump the petrol bomb using the passenger's ejector seat and popped the petrol bomb high up and the oil suddenly spurted to coat the whole automobile. Without waiting for Colt to react, Case had already thrown out the cigarette lighter. and the automobile was quickly engulfed in flames. After a strong struggle, Jason always occupies the first spot and felt he had won immediately. But unwittingly he noticed that the provocative gesture made by Jim was precise, was hit hard by Jake and stopped on the side of the road. Eventually finishing sixth, the car also became a lot of holes. See the misery of the race. Jason plainly said not to participate. Julie was prepared for this and pulled out a photo of Jason's child and threatened him. So Jason had to compromise again. That night he arrived to the workshop in rage. He wanted to ask Jim for explanation, but he was prepared. Jason was taken unawares and tied around the neck, and Jim was unceremonious, swinging a huge wrench to murder. But the following second, a searing ache from behind it turned out to be Fatty came in time. While the other side tormented Fatty, Jason took up the steel block and began the counterattack Jim wears. Jason's opponent can only explain the truth about the murder of his wife. The company's main business is to deliver a wide range of products and services to the market. Unfortunately, the prison guard quickly emerged and electrocuted Jason to save Jim. The second race was held as scheduled when everyone surged out of the starting point. Jason, however, does not panic and drives into the abandoned workshop, where he threatens to evict Keith to force out a bigger plot, which turns out that Keith has been undercover for Julie, ordered to linger about Jason to prevent Jason from winning the race, thereby putting him in prison and earning Julie larger benefits. In return, Julie will sign a decree to release Case, but now Keith has no alternative but to cooperate. No more concerns. Jason turns on the nitrous acceleration to return to the circuit for the race, but he no longer goes for the first place. Instead, he fixed his sights on Jim, his wife's killer, and he turned his car around and fired on all cylinders. And Jim starts shooting indiscriminately at each other until he presses beyond the shield to ignite the smoke or not. Jim was barred from visibility by the smoke and dodged and crashed heavily. Seeing that Pyrite High was not killed by the crash, Jason instantly reversed his automobile and returned. Meanwhile, Julie, in order to make the race more thrilling, sends out a massive killer dubbed the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought was armed with powerful weapons and started raining ammunition on the riders. A moment of fire everywhere. Explosion for 2 drivers died under the shell. More accentuated is the Dreadnought is also fitted with replenishment device. Once the tires were punctured, there was no way to escape. And in the face of the Bullfit cannon, the 14 Kelvin could only die of hatred. The two of them are compelled to overtake the automobile and press through the skeleton to activate the trap. In actuality, they are preparing to kill Jason. It is convenient to plant a bomb on Jason's racing automobile. Later that night, Jason reaches out to Jake with a really bold plan. The third race soon arrives and Julie is bottomless, so to speak. To stop Jason from winning, she controls the sensor system and gives all the resources to Jake. With so much equipment, Jake unleashes insane fire on Jason and observes the tail armor to be pierced. Jason took the risk to remove the shield, but Jake's extreme reaction to dodge the hit, followed by Jake fired a volley of rockets. The goal is not Jason's car, but the jail wall to blow up the gap. The two began to get out of prison, one after the other. It turns clear that Jason and Jake have been acting in order to paralyze Julie. Julie is furious to ignite the explosives, but never anticipated that the bomb had long been defused by the coach. Jason tossed down the spare fuel tank and stopped a huge number of pursuing police cars on the bridge. The helicopter in the skies, but followed closely. Jason took the initiative to cover. Jake lured the helicopter to the dock, jumped off the automobile in the night. It turns out that Keith has already acquired a release order and will be safe and sound, even if he is caught. With Keith's help, Jason and Jake managed to rendezvous, rushing away via train. On the other hand, Julie discovered that Jason was captured and the ratings also set a high. 6 months later, Jason and Jake showed up in Mexico and launched an auto repair shop. Keith also drove there shortly after, and Jason not only got his kids back, but also found friends and a new love. This is the end of the movie. Death Race is a hyper-flammable action flick. Jason Statham, as always, can fight like Jason's pals must not miss. We shall see you next time. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Turn on notifications to stay updated, and thanks for your support.